The bad boy of bass fishing struck again Friday as former Bassmaster Classic champ Mike Iaconelli's first day wait was disqualified for unsportsmanlike conduct. Now he's in a battle just to make the cut. The question is, did he go too far?
But to be disqualified for kicking a light pole and maybe cussing a little bit? Absolutely not.
After a record-breaking day one, setting an all-time classic high of 29 pounds 6 ounces, Luke Clausen continues to lead the way on day two. Things have settled down somewhat following yesterday's huge catches, as the big ones are elusive today. But bass fishing legend Rick Clunn is still in the hunt.
Everybody says, when are you going to quit fishing? When are you going to quit fishing? When I quit doing that, that's when I'm going to quit fishing.
It's Elimination Day on Lake Toho, Kissimmee, Florida. Half the field goes home, while 25 battle it out Sunday for a $500,000 first prize. And we welcome you to Lakefront Park, Lake Toho, Kissimmee, Florida, site of the 36th Bassmaster Classic. 51 of the best anglers
we're here
in the world competing for a $500,000 first place prize. $1.2 million totally, but the second place guy, he only gets $45,000.
$45,000 and $500,000. You don't want to be second place in this tournament. This is it, John. This is the Super Bowl of our sport, and it is happening here.
Well, this is Elimination Day, day two. Out of the 51, 26 go home. Only 25 stay to fish on Sunday. Let's check things out. And contrary to popular opinion, you know, this sport's a game of speed. Preston Clark, fast start. Day after setting a classic record for biggest fish of all time at 11 pounds 10 ounces, Clark was on him early again today, Byron.
And admittedly, he is sight fishing. Now, what that means is he can see the fish. A great example of that here. He is kneeled down on the boat looking at fish that can actually see him. These fish are wanting to spawn. They've moved up. He has to be low profile. He has to look down at the fish and find them on these beds. It's a big thing right now. Spawning fish, bed fish, that's the thing that Preston's on. And this guy has a great shot at winning it because he's from Florida. He knows the lakes. He knows where they like to spawn. He's going to do a lot of looking around today, and watch him closely.
Nobody has ever had a better day in Classic history than Luke Clausen. I mean, yesterday he set an all-time single-day record, 29 pounds 6 ounces. He's one of the few anglers today who's hit double-digit pounds.
Actually, a West Coast angler. Now, a little bit of West Side representing here. This guy is doing a great job at figuring out how to catch fish. Not only that he can see and fish he can't see, but he's different than Preston Clark. He found an area way down south. Went through all the lakes to Kissimmee, and he's in the southeast corner.
And then down the stretch they come. Talk about a charge that Kevin Worth, the former Kentucky Derby jockey, is making. 13 pounds 4 ounces today unofficially. He's in third place and in contention, Byron.
You know, and I know if this guy's a jockey, he likes to sit there and look at that photo finish, and he's going to make this a photo finish. The jockey that he is, he's going to ride these fish all the way through. He's a seasoned veteran. He knows what he's doing. I'm excited to see Kevin in the position he is because he's not right there. Nobody's gunning for him. He's going to have to struggle his way, work his way to just blow the field away. Possibly it could be a down-home stretch finish for Kevin Worth. What do you think?
Never know. And Kevin VanDam went into the day on the bubble spot, dropped all the way down to 38th. Right now, moments ago, another fish catch. He's in 26th. So the defending Bassmaster Classic champion just trying to make the cut right now, Byron.
You know, that's amazing for Kevin to be in this position. How unheard of is this? The Classic champion from last year defending his title, and right now he's just looking to go fishing tomorrow. These are not the size fish Kevin came here to catch. You know he's frustrated, having a real tough time just getting those quality bites, but there's a lot of people rooting for him to make a comeback today.
And in fact, KVD, Kevin VanDam, didn't get the quality bite until the afternoon. We still have over 3.5 hours remaining on day two, so don't count the defending champion out. He could still set a record for most consecutive tournament victories. He's going for his 4th straight.
Oh, it'd be unbelievable.
Yeah, but I mean, it's going to be tough to catch Luke Clausen. I mean, check that out. Unofficially, 42 pounds 10 ounces.
And like I said, you got Preston Clark, the hometown favorite. Nobody in their home state has ever won a Classic. It's called the hometown jinx. Can Preston Clark break that jinx? Right now, he's poised. And look at some of the other finishes we got there.
All right, well, we have reporters out on the water covering things for us, so let's check in now with Robbie Floyd.
Right now I'm following Mike Worm. He's been holding the same position the past couple hours. He said it was the same place he went to yesterday, that he was catching just, small fish and dinks, but he's turned it around today. He's went from 49th place, and for a moment there he was inside the top 5. So something has switched around. He said, he's pretty much doing the same type of thing. One thing that is noticeable that switched around is the wind. The wind came from predominantly the north side. Now it's coming from the south, but also maybe just a little bit, he's got this structure's blocking the wind just a little bit right now. I'm trying to be quiet because I'm right on top of him. He's trying to look for sight, for bedding fish, but he's also throwing to certain types of structure. He's not been in the grass and the lily pads like I've seen other competitors earlier. I might be able to make a run over towards Scott Rook a little bit later. I hear he's had a pretty good day later on. That's what he told me. They caught about 20 fish in this one area, but they all came in the afternoon. So it'll be curious to see if the afternoon bites again, because the weather looks very much today like it did yesterday. Kim, what do you have?
Well, speaking of turning it around, Robbie, I've got Kevin VanDam behind me. We're on Cyprus right now, and as of about a few minutes ago, he was outside of the bubble, just outside, in about 34th place, unofficially about 1.5 pounds out. But a few minutes ago, he caught a big bass. Now, I don't know exactly how big it was, but it was definitely bigger than 1.5 pounds. So he is back in the cut unofficially. Never, ever count Kevin VanDam out of making the cut. He's making a charge, he's making a comeback, and that's what he's known for. Over to Mark May. What's happening, Mark?
Well, I'm following around Preston Clark today. He's in ideal position, not having a fabulous day, but having a solid day. 4 fish caught today, over 8 pounds. Started the day in 2nd place. He remains in 2nd place in striking distance of 1st place at Luke Clausen, but he's not there yet. We still have some time to fish today. Back to Basscenter.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. We are here on the dock right now. We just heard about Kevin VanDam, and I can tell you right now, they're talking about the cut and Kevin VanDam. Trey, he could probably care less about that cut, and that's bad to say, but he will break out all his heavy artillery to get back in the win for this game, this tournament right now. He's the big game guy. He is not worried about the cut line.
That's a great point, Mark. One thing that sticks out to me about this tournament so far, you and I are asked all the time, what makes these guys great athletes? Well, I tell you, not only are they battling an unseen opponent in that fish down there, but they got to battle Mother Nature's whims. Sure. And they're getting a lot of that this week. The weather has changed with every hour of the day, it seems.
What happened to that sun and calm winds we were
I don't know. I could use some more of it, though.
That right.
That's the thing that makes these guys, great anglers, and dealing with that is going to be interesting for the rest of this tournament because we got more changing weather predicted. So, John and Byron, we're going to send it back over to you guys.
All right, thank you, Trey. And I know you don't have a computer over there like I have. And in 4-minute span, Kevin VanDam, unofficially, 2 fish, 6 pounds. He is now tied for 17th unofficially.
God, what a move. We were getting ready to tell a story about how far out he was, and now he's well in. And like Zona said, he's gunning for the top. He doesn't care about 25th. It's a great point by Zona.
Now, on the other hand, one of the other superstars of the sport, Mike Iaconelli, disqualified yesterday's weight. Started out at 0 today. He's caught about 9 pounds. He would have had a little over 11 if not for a penalty for dead fish yesterday. He would have had over 12. He'd be in the hunt too. But check out what is going on here, Byron. He caught a fish. He goes into the live well where they keep the fish, and all of a sudden he's panicking.
And he's noticing his water is not recirculating. Those fish are basically suffocating there. Now what he's doing is he's looking for something, some cure for the live well. He's going to actually add biomedics, and this is stuff you put on the fish, rejuvenate, it's called. You put it on the fish, add current to the fish, and actually help these fish relax and breathe better. That's what he just went into his live well for there. Now he's trying to resuscitate these fish. These fish are hurting right now.
Now, when you say he puts in the I guess natural herbs and vitamins and stuff, and then it recirculates the water. And then look at this. He is so mad. He goes, oh.
Now this is where he's losing it. Here we see Ike spiking, and this is Ike at a spike mode here. His heart rate is up. He's losing it. He is frustrated. He's having the breakdown of the day right here in front of everybody on camera, and that's a tough deal for him.
Yeah, and he ended up with a little over 11 pounds after a 10-ounce penalty. Then afterwards, they zeroed him, and like I said, said 9 pounds today, a little over 9, he'd be in the hunt. I mean, I can see getting that emotional, but I guess he just crossed over that threshold,
But
that
that's
line.
a great point. He would be in the hunt right now. If all the fish he caught yesterday and today combined, he'd be right there thinking about fishing tomorrow. Instead, he's really playing a catch-up game. But what went wrong for this guy? Well, ultimately, what I'm seeing happen is that the guy had a little bit of a breakdown when he noticed his fish were not getting any water. Well, was that the boat's fault or his fault? It's user error. What's happening there is he wasn't maintaining those fish. I watched all the tapes thoroughly. I watched a half hour's worth of those tapes unedited, and I noticed that he was throwing fish in the well, never really checking the pumps to see if a live well was recirculating water or adding fresh water in. So it's user error is what's occurred here. He lost it because he didn't have any water in there, and he was suffocating some fish that needed a constant flow of oxygen along with that water. And it's just it's sad to see him just melt like he did yesterday, and I'm sure he regrets it, John.
But, you know, I mean, you can catch 20-some pounds of fish in today, as we have seen.
He better catch 27 pounds
or he is
today.
going home. I tell you what, one of the anglers that people might have been concerned about in the early morning coverage, Kevin VanDam, when he was dropped back into the upper 30s, he's out there on the water making a charge, and he is in the top 20 right now. It looks like KVD might be able to fish for that $500,000 prize on Sunday. Coming up on Basscenter, the heroic story of pro angler Greg Hackney, who rescued his father-in-law following the damage of Hurricane Katrina.
I really didn't know I loved my father-in-law so much. You know, you're not supposed to like your father-in-law.
It was close, man. I mean, you don't know how close it was.
Basscenter is brought to you by Triton Boats. We take America fishing. And Wendy's. Don't compromise, personalize. Do a Wendy's hamburger. Do what tastes right.
As far as Bassmaster Classic competition goes, you know, Rick Clunn is the Babe Ruth. He is a legend, a 4-time winner of the Classic. He's fished in 30 out of 36 at one point in time. He made 28 straight Classics, and right now the man is getting it done. He has moved into the top 10, Byron. He may win that $500,000 prize.
And this is like a carbon copy of yesterday. It looks like the same spot. It looks like he may have been throwing the same bait. Until we actually see him put the fish in the boat, we're not going to be sure, but this looks like the big 10-pounder he caught yesterday once again, and this guy is a machine. He's consistent. He's won the greatest angler of the bait by far, and he's an icon among everybody. But look at the fish getting down again. Oh, is it going to be another giant? Yes!
He had one on the first day of competition that set the record initially. It was broken later at over 10 pounds on Friday. Just incredible. Swings that big stick just like the Bambino did.
The same bait, the same looking area. It's like a carbon copy of yesterday right there just a few minutes ago.
It's sitting right now, Rick Clunn in 9th place, 25 pounds, 12 ounces. But, you know, Luke Clausen still holding over a 5-pound edge over Preston Clark. Clausen, of course, set the record with over 29 pounds yesterday, the most fish ever caught in one day at the Classic. And Kevin VanDam is making that charge. Look at that. As we came on, he's jumped 17 spots, and at 11 o'clock and 11:04, 4-minute span, he caught 2 fish weighing an estimated 6 pounds.
He's on the move. You know what? Don't predicted it.
Yes, he definitely is. You know, last year when Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans, Louisiana, native Greg Hackney used his boat to do something that he never really imagined that he'd ever have to do with it. It wasn't for recreation. It wasn't to go out fishing in order to earn a living. Instead, Hackney used his boat to go save the life of his father-in-law.
More than 6 months after Katrina struck the Gulf Coast, many who survived the storm feel fortunate to be alive, including Greg Hackney's father-in-law.
If I was going to punish somebody, I couldn't punish somebody that bad. If I was going to whip somebody, I couldn't whip somebody that bad. I mean, I don't know whether I went to hell and came back.
On the day the hurricane raged across the bayou, Andy Hillary chose to ride out the storm in New Orleans, with the city on the verge of descending into madness.
This is a national disaster. This is a major, major, major deal. People are dying. They don't have homes. They don't have jobs. The city of New Orleans will never be the same.
See this call come out, and the guy says, need to use your cell phone. This man, I don't have any battery, you know? So he reaches in his car and he pulls out a pistol. And he says, give me the cell phone or I gotta kill you.
Your call cannot be completed.
My mom comes in and she was like out of breath. She said, he's been held up. They said, give me your phone. And that's where the cell phone cut off.
Swimming, walking, and biking for miles, Hillary reached a warehouse he owned in New Orleans. He was scared as he hid from looters and found another phone. Dialing nonstop, he tried to get a call out and beg for rescue.
You were laying down at night, you'd hear like a machine gun almost go off. It was like, I can't handle this.
He told Julie on the phone, he's like, look, I can't take any more. His only option was for me to come get him.
At dawn the following morning, wearing a bulletproof vest and bearing arms, Greg Hackney took his bay boat 60 miles into the heart of darkness to rescue his father-in-law, who was hiding at a predetermined location.
It was like going in a war zone. You know, you watch that stuff on TV and you don't really realize what it is till you get out in it. I came right straight into that bridge, and this guy walks out from under the bridge there and starts waving a shirt around.
When I got on his boat, he was kind of choked up, and I said, man, come here. I gave him planted a big kiss on his cheek. I said, man, I love you, boy. You know?
Really was an emotional moment for me. You know, I really didn't know I loved my father-in-law so much. You know, you're not supposed to like your father-in-law.
When he came home, I just started pouring, bawling, crying, and, you know, then I got to hug him, and I said, go get in the bathtub. Let's get you cleaned up.
I'm almost like whistling Dixie, because I'm alive. And, I mean, it was close, man. I mean, you don't know how close it was.
In a culture where heroes are often transparent, Greg Hackney is the real McCoy. He's a country boy with a boat who took his Sunday school lessons to heart and became a fisher of men.
He's a champ in my book. He caught the biggest bass he ever caught when I got in that boat.
And you don't think about, you know, as much time as I spend on the water that I'd ever use my boat to do that. You know, you don't want to think about it like that. You know, I use my boat for sport. You know, it wasn't a sport.
When I called his mom and dad that evening, I said, I want you to be so proud of the son that you raised, because he's an incredible man.
Man, that is just an incredible story.
That's a moving, especially what he's done, you know, and how far he had to go, and the chances of even finding his father under that bridge.
I know, it's just incredible. And Greg Hackney is fishing in the Bassmaster Classic this year. And you look on the notable side, on the right-hand side of your screen, he is currently in 21st, but Byron, he's only one fish away from the top 10.
Oh, and there are some big ones out there, and the way this guy likes to fish, he is a guy that loves to fish for big fish. He's known for that, and he can make the last-minute heroics come to truth.
But, you know, I said he was only one fish away from the top 10.
Yes, sir.
He's only 4 spots away from the elimination.
Oh!
Well, you know, Mike Iaconelli had a meltdown on the water yesterday afternoon during the first round, and it's things like that that have really helped Mike to make GQ's most hated athlete list. When we come back, we're going to talk to some of his competitors about Mike's actions around the sport.
Ouch. Ouch.
Basscenter welcomes you back to the 36th Bassmaster Classic, Lake Toho, Kissimmee, Florida, where the anglers are fishing over an area 4 times the size of Manhattan. And so far, Luke Clausen has taken a bite out of that big apple.
Oh, and
that was terrible, wasn't it?
That was awful.
He is currently leading the way, 42 pounds, 10 ounces through today. He had over 29 on Friday. That is unofficially. Well, you know, the controversy that often surrounds Mike Iaconelli surfaced here at the Classic on Friday when his first day weight was disqualified for a sportsmanship violation. Well, recently, Iaconelli was voted one of the 10 most hated athletes in all of sports by GQ magazine. Well, we spoke to Ike about that and also asked some of his competitors about the most controversial figure in professional bass fishing.
Hi, Mom. What? What I don't like about Mike is when that sometimes they act the show and, you know, act maybe kind of phony for the camera. I'd like to see him tone down some of the vulgarity I've heard him use and some of the acting he does.
You know, why don't you open it up, man? You see me coming.
A lot of people in the old days don't like it because when I started fishing, they always said, act like a gentleman, don't holler, scream.
Some people really like it and some people don't, you know. Some, like you said, the old guard, some of the old fans really don't like that type of stuff, and some of the new do. I mean, there may be a little bit of a changing of the guard.
Don't give me a hard time!
Does it bother you being considered one of the most hated athletes in the world?
You know, it doesn't. I mean, everybody's perception is going to be a little bit different. You know, the thing that I think about is that I'm in a sport that I love. I'm passionate about fishing, and I'm true to myself and true to the sport.
You know, everybody needs a gimmick, I guess. And Ike, when he won the Classic, you know, all those yells and screams, that was real.
Never give up! Never give up!
I think since then, you know, there's a few times he might have embellished it a little bit.
The King Kong ain't got nothing on me, baby!
People love Mike Iaconelli or they love to hate him. And the real key there is that Mike's got figured out is as long as they're a fan and as long as they care, he's winning.
When I'm by myself and I'm fishing my little private lake in South Jersey and there's not another person for a mile around, I get excited when I catch a fish, regardless if it's 12-inch or 2-pounder or 5-pounder. Am I aware that I have branding and I have certain things that are attached to me that help build my fan base and help build the sport? Absolutely, I'm aware of that.
Just do it, baby!
I think the guy's brilliant. He's exposed himself and the brand, his brand, and the sport of bass fishing to millions of people that never knew anything about bass fishing.
Couldn't you talk to the fish in a more gentlemanly manner? For example, it's been quite a battle. You're a worthy adversary. I commend your effort, but I am the victor.
No, absolutely not. Dear sir, I honor you for being a worthy opponent. You noble creature, thank you for being a worthy adversary.
All the player haters out there, all they've done is created more revenue for them. So he's just laughing all the way to the bank.
I'm on top of the world right now. Would I ever imagine that would get to the point where we're talking about, you know, 30, 40 boats following me at each tournament? Where we're talking about, you know, thousands and thousands of people showing up at events? Where we're talking about T-shirts and belt buckles and hats and merchandising? I never, ever thought it would get that big. I'm the luckiest guy in the world. Hands down, I get to fish and talk about fishing every day of my life. There ain't nothing better than that.
Oh, God, that was sick!
Love him or hate him.
You know, this is to bass fishing what Dennis Rodman has in the NBA. That's our Dennis Rodman with the tats and everything.
And Tony Stewart in NASCAR almost.
I'm good with him. I think Ike's great. What are you going to do? But he is Dennis Rodman. He is a creature of his own habit.
When we come back on Basscenter from the 36 Sitco Bassmaster Classic, we'll be wrapping up our coverage. Still a few hours left out there for the guys to get the job done. The weigh-in this afternoon at 4:30 on ESPN. It's going to be something to see.
Absolutely.
Basscenter is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Mercury, #1 on the water. Outside the Tackle Box is brought to you by Plano and the all-new Flipsider Tackle Systems. Plano invites you to flip it, find it, fish it.
Talking about finding the fish. Look at Luke Clausen. He's still unofficially in the lead. The guy with over 29 pounds on Friday who set the record for most weight caught at the Classic in one day.
Stay tuned because all the big fish came late yesterday. They're going to come late again today. These are going to change a lot. We're going to see some monsters in the last couple hours.
Don't forget, as we watch Greg Hackney out there fishing, he's currently within the cut. 4:30 this afternoon on ESPN. Watch the weigh-in coverage. It's going to be wild as 26 anglers go home, 25 move on to Sunday to fish for that $500,000 first prize. And then Basscenter will be back here for final day action starting at 7 o'clock Sunday morning on ESPN2. We'll see you then. So long.